Alright, so today it decided to be like 32 degrees out. I was wearing shorts the other day working on the car, and now all of a sudden it's cold and windy. Just for today though, and then I think the temperature is supposed to go back up. However, what I want to get done today is it has to do with the package that I received today in the mail. So let's check that out. What did I get in the mail today? Some stuff from Eibach. Some Eibach coilover springs. Now what my plans for these are is to put the preload back into the suspension on the Mitsubishi and hopefully stiffen up the front end some more. One spring, nice bright red, and then a little sticker here. We have the other spring and another sticker. So these are the Eibach coilover springs that they make. They are 6 inches long, 2.5 inch diameter, and a 14K spring rate, or very close to it, a 14K spring rate. They're going to upgrade and replace the Megan Racing springs that come on the coilovers that I have, and the dimensions on those are like 7.5 inches or so. I'm not really sure until they're off the car. 2.5 inches in diameter and 12K. So they're gonna add preload back in and stiffen up the front end a little bit, and you'll see what I mean when I show you when I say add the preload back in. And also what I'm gonna try and accomplish today is swap the springs on my Megan coilovers without actually taking the coilover off the car. To do is get my first measurement, and it's going to be how many threads are sticking out of the bottom of the base to help me keep the ride height set the same once I put it all back together. It's about 3/4 of an inch sticking out of the base. Coilover. Start loosening the collars upward. Now, what I mentioned before about the whole preload thing is that there's no preload in this spring. As you can see, there's a gap there. I had to do that to get the right height for this. So in a comparison sense, the springs are obviously stiffer, but the Megan Racing spring measures in at about 7 1/8 inches, and the Eibach comes in at a solid 6. So we'll get 1 1/8 of further adjustability and also that stiffer spring rate. The collar is actually right about where it was with the old spring. So now you can really see the difference, and thankfully, something I honestly didn't take into consideration beforehand, the threads actually stop right above the base of this spring. So it's 6-inch spring is just about the shortest you can go on these Megan coilovers. Alright, had to switch cameras real quick because the other one just decided to die. So what I was saying was, now that the collar is getting up towards the top, what we're going to want to do is set the preload. So to set preload, you want to have the spring all the way at the top, and you want to spin the collar so that it's just snug. I apologize for any kind of wind noise. Of course, the wind decides to pick up. You want to adjust this collar so that it's just snug up against the base of the spring. You don't want the spring to be pre-compressed, and you don't want there to be any up and down slack in the spring either. I would say right about there. No up and down. Alright, and then we're going to tighten these up with the spanner wrenches. And then we have the lock collar to the base. Right, so now that the base is screwed back up, what I'm going to do is tighten this ring down here till it's snug, and then there we go. So from here, the whole coilover assembly is now reassembled. So it looks like it raised the car maybe about a half an inch. Still has a tire up there in the fender. However, I think what I've really been going for is making the car more practical and drivable, and going for more the form and function, if you want to throw terms on it. So it raised the car a little bit. Before it was, you know, just maybe a quarter of the way down the sidewall. However, I know for sure that with the proper, with a stiffer spring rate and the proper amount of preload, I know the car itself is just going to handle better and just ride better in general. And that will accomplish my end goal of being able to use the car. So I like the way it looks. I'm going to roll with it, but it's getting dark outside and it's pretty cold out to the point that I'm now in gloves, which I rarely wear gloves. So I'm going to pull the other coilover off the car. It's 3 more nuts on the top hat, and do that one in the garage where it's a little bit warmer. One way I do look at it though is that once I don't need those front axles on the car anymore, I have tons of adjustability to go lower, and in my opinion that'll probably be even better. Alright, so I much rather prefer to work on 1, the carpet, and 2, in front of the heater. So what I'm going to do is start by disassembling the coilover. This gives you a little bit better of a look because you can see the whole coilover as I'm doing it. Now I know the premise of this video is changing a coilover spring while on the car, which we've already covered, but at least this will help you go back and get a full visual aid when you're doing it, even if it's on the car or not. So as you can see here, preload has been taken out of this spring as well. So you can see the play up and down the spring. So first off, what I'm going to do is measure the distance we have here. It should be just about the same. It's a hair, about 1/16 of an inch less than 3/4 of an inch. So that's pretty much close to where we were on the other one. We're going to start by spinning these collars up so that we can loosen the bottom one. And then we can now spin this off the car, off of the strut tube itself. And there you have it, the fully assembled Megan Racing coilover with the Eibach 14K 6-inch, 2.5-inch diameter spring. Now it's time to throw it back on the car. Alright, so I'm actually pretty hype. The coilover is back on the car. The ride height is equal on both sides first try, which is pretty awesome. It's 3/4 of an inch coming out of the bottom. Ended up working out. The car sits a tad bit higher. Let me show you. Sits a little bit higher. I mean, you might not even notice, but you can kind of see that little bit of wheel gap there. But I think it's definitely going to be a lot more functional now, and I should hopefully get rid of my issue of the tires hitting the strut towers on the inside when I hit bumps. So tomorrow we're going to bleed the brakes, straighten out the toe in the front end because we did those new tie rod ends, and then hopefully take it on a test drive because Friday night is Ratchet Fridays at Englishtown in Englishtown, New Jersey, and I'm hoping if the car everything goes good tomorrow night, we can break the pads in. I'm hoping after work on Friday, we can head on out there and see if the car can make it to Englishtown and try and show it off. So once again, thanks for watching. If you guys like this video, hit the like button. Remember to subscribe, and thank you all for, you know, supporting this and watching my videos. If you guys have any other suggestions, feel free to drop them in the comments on what do you want to see in videos and things like that. So as always, I will see you guys next time.